Okay, ready to get started? Let's go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Darville, please.
Yes, let's pray together. Our Father, we thank you for this opportunity once again to meet together to discuss the business of this village. We thank you for this avenue of prayer that we can actually communicate with you. It is said that more things are wrought by prayer than this world dreams of. And we ask that you will bless this group, those who endeavor to keep order and manage in this community, for the trustees and the others who are in charge of the business here. We ask your blessing, your guidance, your wisdom, even as they deliberate, and we pray that all things will be for the betterment of this community. We ask your guidance, your blessing upon each one, in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. We have with us tonight Dave Merzick, our lawyer. I don't know if everyone has met Dave.
Just met Charlie.
Just met Charlie. You know, Tank, you know, everybody else.
He knows me.
Yeah. Is that good?
Well, he'll be judged pretty well.
So thank you for coming in. Okay, first thing we're going to start, we have the public hearing for the handicap parking spot up by the town hall. So I need a motion.
So moved, there we go.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You got that? Yeah. You can.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Walton, Delaware County, New York, at the Village Hall, 21 North Street, Walton, New York, on the 5th day of August 2013 at 6 p.m. to hear public opinion regarding amending Village Code Section 4910F3 regarding handicap parking in front of the Town Hall. All interested parties and citizens will be heard who are for or against this amendment.
Okay, does anyone have any comments or anything, any questions about that in the public?
What is the law?
Well, what the town is asking is that there's a spot where the stairs are on North Street, the stairs, they would like to have a handicap parking spot put there.
On the road itself.
On the road itself, where there is a sign there now, no parking from the corner back.
Right.
The reason, I know they have a handicap parking spot in the parking lot, but they said to us there are people sometimes that come with the oxygen, they just carry the oxygen, that they could park there and walk up 2 steps and be in the building. So we said we would have a hearing on it, discuss it, and that's what it's all about. Any other questions or comments? Not I need to
I move that we close the discussion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we need to vote on this. We need a motion to.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, the second hearing regarding deputy clerk residency.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Walton, Delaware County, New York, at the Village Hall, 21 North Street, Walton, New York, on the 5th day of August 2013 at 6 p.m. to hear public opinion regarding amending Village Code to establish residency requirements for the appointed office of deputy clerk. All interested parties and citizens will be heard who are either for or against this amendment.
Okay. Is there any
Open.
open,
So
sorry.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, sorry about that. Is there any input regarding that? Any questions, any comments? Okay. Well, I guess we close it. We close.
I move to close.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now we need a vote.
Mr. Mayor,
Or a motion first.
I'd like to make a motion. I move that the board approve the proposed change to the law to allow the deputy clerk to live outside the village limits but within the town of Walton. And furthermore, that the minutes reflect that it's the board's intent to readdress the village residency requirement at such time that the current deputy vacates the position.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed. And I vote opposed because as a matter of policy, I would like to see the village employees live within the village limits. It's no reflection on Missy's work, but like I say, as a matter of policy, I prefer to see employees live within the village limits.
Okay, so moved. Okay, need a motion to go out?
We did that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry,
We're all
yeah.
set.
I'm sorry, yep,
Yep.
good. Okay. Abstracts? We've all had copies, time to look at that and everything. I need a motion to approve the abstracts.
Make a motion that we approve the abstracts as presented.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Department heads. Roger?
Hi, Ron.
Is there any questions on the monthly report?
Oh, with me.
Again, your team did a great job on the sidewalk out here next to the theater.
I'm sure to make sure to mention that to them.
It was a busy month. You guys did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it has been a busy month. I mean, I think the guide rails come out quite nice.
They did.
The guide rails come out great.
Thank you.
And with Mr. Reynolds and Mr. Gregory helping with the pump station, with dealing with the residents for us and like that, everything went extremely smooth, so.
Nice job done.
Yeah, a whole nice job.
Thank you.
Roger, when it says, am I interrupting?
No.
When it says for August, continue work at the theater, what give some sense of what's next?
It is August, so that is.
Okay.
And, you know, we gotta do the topsoil seed
Okay.
and a little bit of make up that top out there and there's some inside things that need to be done.
Within budget, of course.
And one of the major things is the heating system. We gotta get the heating system back up and running condition here very shortly.
Yeah.
And, that's gonna be one of the major projects.
Any idea, like, what we're gonna need for this heating system to be up and running? I mean, I know you're talking about some vents,
Yeah,
but...
we need to vent them properly, is the biggest thing. And then one of the heaters also would burn up a blower motor last winter, so we stole some parts from one and put it in the other one to make it work.
Those things, are those things that our crew can do?
We're,
Working
Yes.
on it?
we've got them ordered, they were supposed to be in today, I didn't see them, but, and then, we're gonna try to reuse a bunch of the plumbing that's already there that wasn't installed in the first place.
Mhm.
But the problem is out next year, it's gonna be in fittings. Excuse me?
The mayor and I have talked on many occasions about the installation that was originally done backwards.
Yeah, that's good wording for it.
Yeah.
No, you definitely want to.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But that's part of that, so, the heating and getting the outside over here finished up.
Mhm.
Are they're finished with the pointing in the gutters? Is that done?
I would have to say that I believe so.
Yeah.
They
Did
finished
you give a gander at it to see how it looks?
Not an extreme gander at it, but I had looked at it a little bit.
From what I've seen of it, it looks pretty good. It looks a heck of a lot better than the past.
I was talking to
And I was just gonna say, I realize that we all made a mistake once by trusting somebody to do something, and if you didn't know, I don't know about a lot of that other stuff, but I know you do, so it's good if you take a look just to make sure. I don't wanna have to worry come like November or something, like, gee, you know, we're getting leaks, we're getting this, so that's what I'm saying.
There's a couple of areas that I really want to investigate a little bit closer around the fire escape.
Yeah.
Where the huge holes were left in the side of the wall. I haven't looked at that really close yet, but it needs to be looked at.
Yep.
Knowing the man's work, I'm pretty sure that he's quite thorough on it, but I will double check it.
Yeah, just always.
I was talking to one of the neighbors, and he said that during a rainstorm, he could see a very distinct improvement, so.
That's good.
Okay.
It's in the right direction.
Okay.
And I see mid-August going to start the East Street and North Street paving.
Well, yeah, I kind of hated to put that date down there because things change, but that is what I was told from the Cobesco is, you know, projected date would start. We're hoping to get the North Street done prior to school opening, and just after the fair, so that leaves us in a small window.
They're aware of it there.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping that date comes in.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. It just won't happen with the school opening.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible.
Okay.
There's one other thing that I'd like to discuss. I've been getting a few notices on some trees that have some dead spots in them. We've been getting papers to the, you know, in writing. The tree company that we used last year is in town right now. I would like to ask the board if I should approach them to get some kind of, well, he's in town, it might be cheaper.
Have you looked at the trees?
Yeah.
And are they really,
There's a couple of them that really could use some pruning right as soon as we possibly can.
and do we have money in the budget? Some? I know we don't have much, but I'm just saying, do we have anything for trees in there?
They did put some in
I
there,
think it was like 1,500 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
1,000, I think.
1,000.
15,000 should run.
I wasn't sure exactly.
But
So if there's something that's crucial that has to be done, but it's within as much, you know.
if they're in town, I mean, they're here, I know they are, they've been doing some.
So you have to
stuff
pay an
elsewhere,
extra.
So hopefully possibly it'll be a little bit cheaper to have them do it right here, so they don't have to move in again.
Sure.
But I'll probably say that, and then I'll go over there tomorrow morning, they pulled their stuff all on those, so. But I just wanted to ask the board if they thought it would be wise to see if he has time-wise in the village to trim up some of these problem trees. And then if we do have money later in the year to trim up some more, you know, like every year we do the tree survey. But as of right now, if he can take care of the ones that we do have noted as a problem.
No, it makes sense if he's here.
Yeah, some of that stuff, when it gets bad, is, you know, pay me now or pay me later. Yeah.
And now that we've been notified, we really need.
You're right, yeah.
Okay.
As a new kid on the block, what's the criteria you use for when folks comes in for what trees to trim and what not to?
That's a good question. Typically, we're out looking to see, I mean, if somebody's, like these two trees, I went and looked at them today, and their complaints are very valid. I mean, there's sections of that tree that absolutely need to come down, and that's why I'm asking, you know. I mean, if some people, they have requested, and we kind of put it on the back, because, you know, there's other ones that are worse.
Right.
You see what I mean? You got to fit it in with your budget. You
So
know.
it's on village property that may threaten private residents or?
Basically, the trees between the street and the sidewalk is what we typically take care of.
We've had historically requests to go on to people's lawns and things, that's not our responsibility.
And that's kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah.
To make that clear that it's.
But if the board's good with that, I'd like to talk to the company tomorrow and see if they can fit it in for a day or two of trimming on a couple of these trees.
Do we need to do anything? Okay, good.
No, that's okay.
Good.
Go.
And you're not going to yell at me when I bring the bill in. It's not one day.
No promises.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Roger, pull yourself in.
Nice try, pal.
Jody's the gatekeeper, you know that.
Yeah, watch the doors. I think that's honestly everything that I can think of.
Any other questions for Roger?
No, it seems like the guy just keep getting the last 2 or 3 months, and maybe it's been historically recently, but it seems like the crew keeps getting one compliment after another.
Well, that's good. It's
Nice.
Everybody's saying that about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they are.
Seriously.
They've been doing a really, really good job. the guide drills, I mean, everything they work on, all the
my
things.
God.
Picking up all the garbage, and all the trees, and all the brush and everything.
Must be because of the highway committee.
No, you guys are tough.
Well, you know you gotta do good, 'cause Tick is good at taking pictures. He's gonna get you.
Yeah.
He's right there, he's like the I Spy.
Can all go downhill from here, pal.
Yeah.
Last time you told me things were looking good.
No, I know.
I guess I'm all set.
Yeah, you're good, yes, thank you. Tell the guys thanks, they're great.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ed.
Good seeing you.
Bill Brown? I know.
Hi, Bill. Bill's office is literally next door to mine. So
Say hi,
he
neighbor.
does it in the hallways every day.
Thanks, Bill.
Jody uses him as the delivery boy and stuff back there.
Many hats, many hats.
And all, well,
That's right, that's right. We just have a couple of things to touch base on tonight. Last month, the board authorized some repairs and some aeration piping at the sewer plant, so that work is commenced. We've got parts and materials, or the contractor has parts and materials on order, and are looking to get them installed this month. We had a few thousand gallons of septage delivered to the treatment plant, which is a little bit of a revenue stream for the village. So we were about 8,900 gallons last month. As far as purchases, the only thing we're asking for this month is to authorize the preventative maintenance, the yearly preventative maintenance agreement with HOC, which we have a series of meters over there that are HOC meters, that once a year we have the manufacturer come out and do a service on them. So that's the service that we're asking the board to authorize tonight. It is a line item within the budget, so it is something that, we budget for each year, so.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
As far as the treatment plant, Delaware Operations is also working on the upgrade project over there. And part of the project is seeking funding through the consolidated funding program. Who's filling out the application, which ultimately will need to be signed by the mayor. So we're asking that the board authorize the mayor to be able to sign the consolidated funding application for that project.
Need a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next on our list is the water project. Overall construction is wrapped up there. We are asking that we close out the construction contract with Zachary Construction, release their remaining retainage for their contract. They've gotten the last of their release of liens and close out paperwork submitted to us. So we're asking that the board authorize the close out of that contract. Once the board authorizes that, the mayor would sign the pay request. That would get submitted to USDA. They will then do a wire transfer to the village for the $65,000 that's remaining, and then the village would be able to write the check to the contractor upon receipt of those funds. So that's one request we're asking that the board is authorize the final payment request for Zachary for the $65,221.65.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for a motion, but before that, you and Roger both have gone over everything to make sure that
The parts and pieces.
parts, everything is,
And there's also, we're releasing the retainage, but there's also a 1-year warranty period.
That's what's going to happen. You release your retainage, but you got a warranty in there.
Yeah, there's a 1-year warranty from the date of substantial completion, which was 2 months ago. So, if something does happen, and there was a warranty issue at the treatment plant, not at the treatment plant, at the Curry Well House a couple of months ago with the generator. They came out, took a look at it, there's a part that needed to be replaced, they replaced the part. So it's under warranty for a year.
Roger, you're okay too, right? Excuse me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I want just gonna get you on tape, you know what I mean? Okay, I'll take a motion for that.
Motion. Second.
Wait a
All in favor?
minute, who
What?
did it? Okay.
Pink,
And then Dave.
Dave,
I'm glad you're here, John.
all in favor?
It's good
Aye.
knowing you.
Opposed? Okay.
Another part of the overall upgrade project is the
upgraded telemetry system, which is being installed by Marks Enterprises. That work is underway. We received a invoice for a partial payment for the work that's been completed to date from Marks. That was in the amount of $29,960. It's just over 50% complete. That's basically for the installation of the hardware at the different locations, primarily the Austin, Lincoln, Wellfield. That's been completed over the last about month or so that Ted's been in town working on the project. So I know there's a few more parts and pieces that are on order and supposed to be here this week. Once they're in, then they'll be installed. The software system needs to be upgraded, which is part of the contract that Marks Enterprises is completing. So that's the remaining work. But the invoice we have in front of us is for the work that's been completed to date for the $29,960, which is being funded out of the overall water project, which is now into the grant fund. So upon approval of this invoice, it then goes to USDA, and then once they wire the money back to the village can then write the check to Marks Enterprises for the corresponding invoice. So we're asking for authorization for that bill.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And that's basically all we have with the water project. Once the telemetry stuff is done, we'll have the formal loan closing with the USDA. And there's a slew of paperwork to go along with that, to say the least. So we're probably looking at next month to be able to wrap that up. Terrace Avenue water main is the last item on our agenda for tonight. The board authorized proceeding with that project last month. Since that time, the survey has been completed. We have the design, the plans and specifications mostly done. I'm going to be reviewing those with Roger tomorrow morning, and then we're planning to submit them to the health department for their review this week. So we're hoping to be able to go to bid this month with the project in anticipation of going to construction after that. So we are asking that the board authorize going to bid for the Terrace Avenue water main work this month.
Need a motion for that?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So we'll work with Joey to get the ad, get that in the paper. Once we get the approval back from the regulatory agencies and go to bid, and hopefully we get good pricing from contractors.
I hope so. It's something that the people have been waiting for a long time. I know a lot of them are getting really brown water, so this is good.
And that's our
Is it?
that's our spiel for tonight.
So any news from the city about this?
No, not to my knowledge. I will ask Lou.
But they haven't said no.
Yeah.
Oh,
We've
that's
got to
good.
know. Mr. Ravallo is still considering it.
Okay.
I'll ask Lou this week if he's got any other updates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chief?
Oh, yeah. Good, how are you? Good, Dan. Yeah.
Got my monthly report, any questions, concerns?
How's the new patrol car working out?
Wonderful. Wonderful, it's working well.
Windows work now?
Yes, yes.
The,
Go ahead.
what they'll call .08, isn't it, Brian?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's up.
Yeah.
Gee,
Almost 3 times.
caramba.
You probably wouldn't be conscious.
I was just gonna say, were they conscious?
All of them was functional too.
They had to drive, they couldn't walk, too rough to walk.
Yeah, literally.
Holy cow. Wow.
Did they say, why do you pick on me, right?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Uh,
Do they double check the reading?
Yeah, but it's accurate.
Oh, that's
It's incredible. If there's no other questions, the only other thing I want to bring to the board's attention, I've talked to the mayor about this, probably twice now in the last 3 months, I've had tractor trailers go up High Street, and they get to the 90-degree turn and get hung up.
Why are they going that way?
Believe it or not, both incidents, they've told us that their
GPS
GPS took them that way.
Oh.
That's,
Now, to
you
me-
sent pictures of it.
Now, to me, that just,
One before.
if you would look at that hill, there's no way I'd want to take a tractor trailer up that, what they do, and they've damaged sign up there at the very
Yeah.
end. Just kind of inquiring what the board wants to do, put some signage at the bottom of that hill or something. Because last time they were there, they almost run over a parked car, person's car.
Wasn't the last guy going to Georgia or something?
That was the one, very first one was heading for Georgia, but the GPS took them up High Street. Don't know. I don't know if the village wants to put some type of signage there, you know, tractor trailers, because I know Vets Club has delivery, but that's like a box truck type thing. I don't know.
Here, there, everywhere, sign.
And if for some reason they do get around that corner, which I don't see it happening, can't foresee them trying to make the corner come down Park Street and end up down in Brook or something.
Well, there should be some type of signage, I think, there should be no tractor trailers or something.
I don't know, a length limit, or
What you can do, there's a DOT approved sign that says no trucks, local deliveries only. No
okay.
truck, and that just avoids the whole truck issue, but then the local deliveries are allowed, and these guys obviously aren't bringing their semis up to make the local delivery.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
You can get them that, there's a picture of a truck with a slash, the red slash through it, they're generally available.
Okay, we can do something like that.
Do we need to do a local law for that, to put it in the code?
Well, I suppose if you're gonna enforce it, you might. We could make a change in your traffic regs. Could also
We
get
wouldn't
it.
need to pass a law to get the sign up, but if you're gonna enforce it,
Yeah, it's one of those things, if
You
you
don't
ever,
want the answer,
if you're one
don't
that
answer
judge
questions.
you get your ticket, you gotta have to, see, like, Jody keeps me honest with it. Yeah, I just think it's irritating to have to pass a local law every time you change a sign, but that's New York State.
Again, Raj, what is it?
I'm curious if you're gonna put it on both ends of the entrance to that area to make it legal? I mean, you're talking
Either side of the street,
No, you're talking at High and Dover, but what if,
Gristle, coming up the other
Park
way.
isn't parking lot?
You mean, you think a truck would try and make that turn,
Yeah.
I guess it's
It's
possible, yeah.
possible, the GPS takes them.
well, I was gonna say, if the GPS is telling
They're gonna
them what
follow
to do, they're gonna figure it through, because I see now that they have GPS units specific for trucking, versus
Yeah.
passenger cars, because I probably bridge height and roads that trucks aren't supposed to go on and stuff.
But we need to have a hearing first on this, right? So we need a motion for a hearing.
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It's not.
Okay, so
I'll draft that before I get over to Jody.
Okay.
The other thing.
Yeah, call David when we, I'm sorry, yeah.
No, I don't know who orders your signage.
Roger? Who does it?
Yeah.
Roger takes care of those signs.
Because all I was thinking is I want to make sure that the statute, whatever it is we write up, is consistent with a sign that you can get.
Okay.
So, because you don't fabricate your own, so.
No, we ordered.
So see if you can find a sign that says, no trucks, local deliveries only, or something like that.
Great.
And then, once you've found it, make sure that you get the graphic to me, so we can make sure that the local statute conforms actually with what the sign says. If we draft something, then the sign doesn't say it, and we're back in the, we're back in the suit again.
Okay, great. Hey, thank you. Okay, Steve is not here right now, he's up at the town meeting. If he gets back, we'll call him. We'll wait for a minute. We'll do trustee reports. What? Excuse me a minute.
Lori Walton, do you want to do that before she says she
Yeah.
should leave?
I'm sorry, Lori.
That's okay. Just
Yeah.
number 7.
You want me to?
No,
Lori?
did you want to?
Come on,
Sure.
Lori.
Okay,
How are you tonight?
I'm well, and you?
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, so I'm Lori Walton with Delaware County Local Development Corporation, and we had a meeting a month or two ago now with Mr. Snow regarding a CFA application for a rural area revitalization program grant for the village of Walton. It would be run through the LDC, so the village would have no real involvement in the project. They'd be able to provide some insight in terms of which applications actually were going to be approved. But the basic idea was is that there's a number of buildings that are located on Main Street and are in a situation where they can't get anybody in there to make the building usable again because they're worried about flooding concerns. So one of the main things that we'd like to see people do is where the ceiling heights will allow for it, to raise the floors in those buildings up, raise the utilities in those buildings up, so that they're above the last flood recorded height, which I think we had to go about 3 to 5 foot.
5 foot, yeah.
So the purpose of me being here this evening is we've got a resolution that we're presenting to the village board for your approval. It's a requirement by the governing body of the grant program that we receive an approval and authorization and your support before we can submit the application.
If they're gonna raise the floor up that high, you end up with like American with Disability Act stuff with ramps and things?
It could become a possible issue. We would look to try and make sure that however the floors are going to be raised up, that any kind of handicap accessibilities are going to be addressed as well in their plan.
That might negate the possibility sometime. I'm thinking, are you talking about literally on Delaware Street, some of the buildings on Delaware Street?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so if there was a way that they could incorporate a ramp within the building. I don't believe that it's an actual requirement that they have to be handicap accessible.
Oh.
Unless the village, I believe, institutes some sort of a regulation that says that they do.
Well, it's not a question, not a request. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How many feet are we talking?
About 5 foot. And that would obviously only be where ceiling heights would allow for it. And
Oh,
if
so you're not
somebody,
changing the ceiling height?
right. So if it's a building that has already a 13-foot high ceiling, it has enough space that if they wanted to bring it up, they'd then still have 8 foot. It'd be.
And do they do, I'm just thinking of the flood and some of the businesses that were downtown. If you raise the floor up, and then you're partway up the level of the front windows.
There'd have to be adjustments then.
Okay, and that's all taken into, okay.
Yep, and likewise, if somebody did decide that they wanted to undertake a general renovation project on their building, it will allow for facade improvements to the building. If they have residential units on the second floors of the building, they can go ahead and they can make some renovations to that. The general guidelines that we're going to go by is up to $25,000 per project. To improve the building, we can fund up to 75% if the funds are awarded. So the building owner would then only have a 25% requirement for the cost of the project.
And are the requirements like the owner of the building needs to be a resident of or anything?
They do not. If there's going to be any residential units that are impacted, they do have to make sure that the units are made available to individuals with low to moderate income and that they are within 90%, I believe, of low to moderate guidelines, at or below 90% of the median family income.
Okay. Where else is this being done?
This specific program is not one that we've worked with before. We've done a Main Street Revitalization program, which is very similar. The main differences between this program and the Main Street program is that this focuses on highly distressed communities, which because the village of Walton has been impacted by floods several times, they consider that as more of a distressed community than, say, the village of
I don't even dare
Stanford.
say.
Stanford.
I really, you're right. Yeah. Queens.
If no other questions, we need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your help.
Certainly welcome.
Thank you.
I have those. These are actually just copies of some of the letters that we've sent out to individuals.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll go to the trustee reports. Charlie, we'll start with you.
Okay, one of the things I did this last week was attended the Theater Restoration Committee Association. Basically, big things that they're working on is they're looking to have a classic movie series that they're going to hope to bring later this year, probably Thursday nights. They did remind the board that, as per previous discussions, that they've committed about $5,200 towards projects, the eaves troughs among them, and looking eventually for the village to reimburse them from their budget line. And one last thing that they brought up is a sense of support for repairing the fire alarm on the building. And I pointed out to them that that's really a fire district responsibility. And although they and other people have come to me and asked about how to get it fixed, talking to one of the commissioners, fire commissioners, it'd be about $5,000 to replace it, to get it repaired. So if folks are really interested, they have two avenues of approach. You can contact one of the fire commissioners and express their interest that way, or for those that are into Facebook, the Walton Fire Department has a Facebook page, and they've solicited comments, interest to try to get feedback from the community on that. So they're still working. They'll have a booth down at the fair, so folks that are interested in the theater and the restoration can learn more about it down at the fair next week. And that's what I have, sir.
Thank you. Dave, anybody?
Nothing beyond what Bill said.
Okay. Hank, how about you?
No, I think Rod's pretty well covered everything. The one thing I'd like to bring up, though, is the fire hydrants here within the village. I took some pictures today and sent them to everybody. I don't know if you got them yet. But I'll tell you what, that's one heck of a job. Those kids and the people that are in charge of them. They're really doing a tremendous job there.
I agree.
They should be
They look
noted.
great, yes.
Yes,
I
they
agree.
do.
They're very cheerful on Main Street, I agree. Most of the programs for the rec program have concluded, lessons are finished, tennis, basketball, and we serve quite a few young adults and adults in evening swim lessons. The pool is still going to be open during Fair Week, but it's an abbreviated schedule. From 1 to 5 will be open swim, and from 5 to 6 is adult swim. And at the end of Fair Week, Brian will get in touch with Jody and see where the budget stands as to whether or not it can continue to be opened after Fair Week. But we just want to thank everybody who worked. They did a great job, and all the people who came. We had some fun.
All right, before I go, Steve, come in. You've got 2 meetings tonight, Steve, so we'll wait for you. Come on up.
I've been here sooner, but my Jeep broke, so I had to walk from the town hall.
The Chief of really?
Yeah,
I think it's not far.
I just need some bodies to push it.
Oh, my back is killing me.
Yeah. Everybody's got my report.
Yes.
Any questions on that? I don't know what all Charlie might have covered in my absence.
I held off till we saw he came.
Okay.
Loaded.
All right, great. Additions to that, I know that the 141 Delaware has been a forever topic. I spoke with CWC today. They have a bid which he fully expects to be approved tomorrow at their regular board meeting, and they will move forward from there as quickly as they can. Best case scenario, last week, August. Worst case, mid-September. So we're not quite to the point where we can nail it down to a specific date, but and I know that I keep throwing dates out here every time I sit down, but I really believe this time that that's going to take place. They're as anxious to take care of it as we are. So I think that'll be a good one to get cleared off the plate. I know that 56 Delaware has been an issue. I'm in the process of addressing that. I did receive a letter of dissent from the owner today. I invited the owner to the September meeting, nuisance property hearing like we've done in the past. Their option is to either attend the meeting or they can file a letter of assent with me. I received that letter today. Tomorrow I will draft a letter back to him.
Was that the letter instead of them showing up?
Yes,
Okay.
that's yep. They can provide a letter that gives me specific dates that they are going to take care of the specific issues, which they have done at this point. I believe I will accept that, and according to the letter, he says he's going to have the major issues, the major safety issues, demolition of the east side of the building, enclosing the basement, and the roof taken care of by September 9th. That's a full plate, but...
I'd say you believe that?
Yeah. It's...
Otherwise you're going to be calling me.
Yeah. It's a full plate, but we're going to... I think that it's worth giving him a shot. I mean, worst case scenario, he doesn't achieve it, and we invite him to the next meeting. So that's where I'm at with that.
Training?
Training. I attended training twice this past month. Went to Buffalo, got 6 hours of flood training there. So I only lack a couple of hours of flood training to maintain that. Went to Oneonta on the 31st, received 3 hours of training there. I have one coming up in Dryden in September. I could not find the notice or the dates today in preparation for the meeting. I'm sure it's only like $30. It's through Stavola.
Do you need a motion, like, to approve up to a certain amount so you're covered, or is it?
I don't know that we even desperately need a motion. I'm just keeping you guys aware of this, because I mean,
okay,
most of the trainings are, $30.
We do be a motion, but, is it the early part of September, or is it a little later?
I want to say it's mid-September.
Then we would be all right for the next meeting, then.
I know that Jody said that our meeting's a little later.
Huh?
When does he have to register by? It might not be timely enough to
Oh,
do it
yeah,
next
for the
month.
Labor Day.
So let's do it now.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
And
All
that'll,
all in favor?
So we're sending them to go,
Yeah.
That way you're covered, and
Right.
you don't have to bring it or worry about it, last minute or anything, and...
that'll be in Dryden, like
You
I
gotta
said.
get credit for all the time he talks to me, though. Geez,
Yeah.
he gets great education from me.
we all do, Dave.
Yeah, but he educates me back, he tells me.
I tried.
Yeah, yeah.
I tried.
What's he trying to say?
What's the deadline for your hours? Is it a calendar year?
It's calendar year. Yeah, and actually, the code training, they give you a 3-month grace period, so I can actually go into next year. And I would just soon avoid that if I possibly do so, because once you get behind, you're always behind.
The only thing I can tell you from independent standpoint is that compared to the services you received in the past, you're getting very, very good code enforcement service. He takes initiative, he knows what he's doing, and better than that, he also manages people well. So when he's addressing problem people, he doesn't come on like gangbusters and raise everybody's hackles. He very often works with them, works to try to put together a scenario with, I don't like saying like dealing with a kid, but it's like dealing with a kid. Say, you gotta have this done by this date, this done by this date, or something's gonna happen. And then he follows up. So it makes my job a lot easier when we're talking to him, because we have scenarios set up. He comes in, he puts deadlines in, he brings them in front of the board. And how many hearings have you had in front of the board? I mean, it's...
It's probably 3 or 4 at this point.
Yeah, and so what's happening is that gets around the community, and then they understand what they can get away with and what they can't get away with, and they understand there are going to be consequences if they don't act. So the consistent enforcement mechanism they've been putting in place really makes a difference ultimately in the work that gets done, the timeliness of it getting done, and also the consistency of it being done. So he's doing a great job, and from my perspective, as I see it regularly, just to let you know that I see it on the outside, and I don't know the individuals involved a lot of the times, so that makes it easier for me to evaluate. It's not colored by whose brothers, whose cousin, whose uncle, whose aunt, So.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank
That
you.
$5 you gave me?
Yeah.
Dinner tonight, all right?
That's right.
I hear his name come up now.
Yeah. With 4-letter words after it. That means he's doing his job. That means he's doing his job. He's the bad guy.
Lots of attaboys tonight.
Yeah. Well,
Steve, do you want to take the board on the
Yeah, I visited Miller Ave today. The container is just about cleaned out, so I believe we're headed in the right direction there.
Ah, good, we can tell Keith they can go and
The lawn has been mowed, and there's doors. Bricks have been palletized and wrapped and ready for shipment, so.
Wow.
We're moving in the right direction on that one too. I'm not gonna do a dance on the table just yet.
Does that mean in the future you will?
But I think we're headed in the right direction there. And then lastly, as you're aware, I just came from the town board meeting. One of the things that was discussed kind of from the get-go when I got hired by the town was doing, sharing the cost of training and that sort of thing. And I wanted to address the town board on that and make sure that they're clear with it, they're fine. So, if the village pays the fee for a particular training, then we can invoice the town for half of that cost, and they'll pick it up. Likewise with the village cell phone, so that I only have one cell phone, so we can invoice them for half of that cost on a monthly basis.
That's good.
That kind of helps both municipalities out. So,
Are the codes redundant? Are they the same code? You're just working outside the village limits geographically, or are the codes that are different?
the building codes are the same. The zoning regulations are a different animal altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, I did counsel him about doing work for the town, but he wouldn't listen to me.
So, and I don't know that we need a motion on that agreement, but, so long as we're good with that, and I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page as far as that goes.
Yeah, that's good.
Is it in their minutes, do you think, that they've agreed to pay half, just so there's something on paper somewhere?
I spoke about it, and I hope that it is. I will double check to make sure.
I wonder if maybe a memorandum of agreement, just because we understand and they understand, but as time goes on, we get new board members here or up there, maybe if we've got
Piece
something
of paper is
to fall
always
back.
good to have, something, we could do something like that.
And, like I said, I think it's a win-win for both municipalities, because you're paying
Sure.
them a half for, what you'd otherwise be paying full for, so that's not a bad deal.
I'll take that on as action, work with Steve to come up with a memorandum.
Is that a legal document, and if so, does it need to be renewed at a regular basis?
If a memorandum of understanding can continue, usually the way, the answer to your question is yes, but the way you get around that is you put that it's renewable on an annual basis unless, it's renewed on an annual basis automatically unless either board chooses to rescind it. So it's an ongoing agreement, otherwise you'd say 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and it would expire. We think it's better, since it's really a mutual agreement that could be withdrawn by either party. You put it in, they say it'll be renewed automatically annually unless by notification, 30 days notice to the other or something like that. Then anybody can act any time they want.
Good, thanks.
And I think that's all I have.
Okay, any other questions? No? Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Good to see you face to face.
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate thanks to the 4-H Club for doing the hydrants. They did a really, really great job. And there were also people that asked me to speak to the board if there are other people who spoke up and said they're interested in having hydrants, or adopting hydrants, or doing a hydrant by where they are. I don't know what the feeling is on the board. I mean, I think the idea of getting more done is a good thing. However, it should be done by some kind of organization or something where there's a structure, where you don't go out in the morning and see basketballs and things all over it, and then it becomes goofy, and then it ruins the good thing that was done. So, I mean, it's something that we can discuss. I don't know what your feeling is on it, if anybody has any feelings on it.
I think that they look nice, but if there's not a group that's sponsoring it, I think I'd want to see a sketch ahead of time to approve it.
Well, I think it has to be controlled.
Right.
Yeah, and what I fear is that we end up becoming censors if we don't have a chance at least to look in advance and what are their ideas. Of,
Right.
What.
It would have to be board approved, I would think.
Yeah. So that's what I was feeling. That's what I'm saying, because if you leave it up to individuals, then anything can happen, and then you gotta say, well, you told me I could. So the 4-H, what they're doing is a good thing, and it looks really nice. And there are some really I don't know, lack of a word, to call them crappy looking hydrants throughout the village. They're all rusted and stuff, but if someone could do something with them like they do on Delaware Street, it would just enhance the whole village, so.
Right, but we don't want them to turn into advertisements or anything.
No. So, we'll just say there has to be an organization for now, if they come together with an organization that wants to take another, you know, I'm thinking like do a street at a time, maybe do Townsend Street, another major thoroughfare, might look nice, where a lot of people would see it, and we'll take it from there and see where it goes.
In the past, we had them coordinate with the fire department before.
Yeah, before they do it, yeah.
And that might be an interim step forward.
That'll be part of the stuff.
Wasn't there a year or two ago, it was probably 5, an Eagle Scout that did something like this in town, or an Eagle Scout project of some sort, or might be confusing?
Not on the hydrant. I know the Eagle Scouts have done a lot with the park. They've done benches, they've built benches, they've painted benches. Right, Rod, you know all the Eagle Scouts, but I don't think anyone's done anything with the hydrants. No. All right, also, I like to tell Roger to tell the 2 young adults that we have working for the summer, they've been down on Delaware Street digging up all the weeds and everything on the sidewalk. They did a very good job. However, there's a however. I mean, it's not their fault. On the other side of the street, I don't know if you noticed by Dick Ponds, and that place over there, there's a few areas that not done. Maybe the kids can go back and check that out.
Basically, only just had this side of Delaware done.
Are they going to go on the other side and work on that too? Oh, okay, great. A couple people asked me to, and I figured that's probably going to go back and do it anyway. Okay. Excellent. Okay, we'll go to public input. If anyone would like to say anything, please just stand, say your name, address, and give you 5 minutes to talk.
Maureen Walker, representing the Walton Chamber. I would just like to report on the summer concert series in Bassett Park. They have been very successful. The first one in June, the mayor was present and gave a little speech welcoming everyone who was in attendance. Last month's July, there were well over 125 people. That was a minimum head count, so that was nice. The next one in August will be the Monday after the fair, which is the 19th. But we're going to have an earlier starting time. Normally it's 6:30 to 8:30, but I've been monitoring the darkness, and by 8:30 it's pretty well dark. So the one in August and possibly another in September will be starting at 6 to 8. And next month's concert will have a new band to the area called Thunder Road. They play rock and roll and country, so I think we'll have a good turnout. And on the merchants who have been very cooperative in their planting of the barrels on Delaware Street, I just recruited a group of judges who will be, as in past years, visiting every single merchant and viewing their flower pieces, and there will be the usual contest somewhere after the fair. The merchants did a nice job this year.
Very nice.
I've been getting a lot of compliments about the barrels too. They really are very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard good feedback on the concerts too. People that have attended that I've talked to were quite impressed. I don't want to say surprised, but very impressed, and glad to have been there. Really, looks nice.
Yeah, the attendance has been very rewarding. Done.
Okay. Thank you, Maureen. Anyone else care to say anything? If not, then we'll go to number 8. Oh, we did that. We got to do the rural area. Right? Oh, we're done. Then that's it for us. We just need to go into executive session to discuss court personnel. So, in pool, yeah.
What will you be discussing about the pool that requires an executive session? Okay.
Personnel, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move we go into executive session.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming.